Okay, good morning. I am heading out to the doctor again to get my re-stick so they can see what's up with some of my blood work. I'm tired because it's early in the morning, very early in the morning. Which I know, it's 7 o'clock. I've been up since about 5. And I'm tired. And then after that, and I haven't had breakfast. My blood work has to be fasting, so I haven't had breakfast. So I have no coffee in my system at all. I'm tired. I'm just really tired. Yeah. I don't do early. Anyway, I am trying to get to the office. So, we'll see how today goes. I gotta go pick up my dad today. And then kind of get the house cleaned up. Because tomorrow I'm babysitting some kids that I love. So, just different stuff like that. Good thing is, at least if it rains, like it is today, obviously, if it's raining, and you got dreadlocks, it really doesn't matter, you know? So, yeah. Okay, I just got out of the doctor's office, and they stuck me. And this time, I think they used one of those little butterfly needles, which they did not use last time. Last time I ended up bruised, and it hurt. This time, she stuck me with a little butterfly needle, and everything was fine. So that's nice. Now I'm going to get breakfast, and then I have to make another stop. Yeah. We just finished at our Bible study group. In our church, we do what's called Titus 2 groups, and what that entails is we equipping one another and discipling one another in different parts of life, different seasons. So some of the conversation that's just kind of flowed out of all of those things, just different stuff. But one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about today is there is a conversation that we started to have as we were leaving. And that conversation has to do with homeschooling. And that versus putting your kids in public school or private school or charter school or whatever, and all the different things that come with that. If you do not homeschool and you start talking to people who do homeschool, they're very passionate about it. I am very passionate. I mean, I'm speaking from experience. People who homeschool are very passionate about their homeschool methods and their homeschool curriculums and the things that they do for their kids, because they're trying to find the things that work best for their kids. And that's fantastic, and that's great, and that's how it should be. And you know, it's very easy for a lot of homeschool folks to, and I say this lovingly, I am a homeschool mom, so hear me out. It's very easy for some homeschool folks to become kind of hoity-toity about it and act like that is all there is in the world, and that you are a heathen if you send your kids to public school. Let me kind of speak to that for a minute. I was raised in public school. I knew nothing about homeschool stuff. Homeschool stuff has kind of blown up in the past 10 years, I would say. The past 10 years have been like a whole different homeschool outlook for a lot of people, especially after 2020. Some people are way more for it now. Some people are way more like, I don't feel like I can do it now. Just different stuff. But I want to speak to the public educators side, which I have never been a public educator. I have a few friends who I love, who are either public educators or their parents are public educators or used to be public educators and have since retired. I am so thankful for public educators. There is a huge group of people who have learned how to handle various educational needs, various personality types, various personal needs on a broad spectrum. These individuals have also had to learn how to reach children who seem unreachable. They have been given tools that help guide students towards success, whatever that may look like. They've been given so much information on how to handle a lot of circumstances that most people don't normally face. If you are a homeschool parent, public educators are a valuable resource. Not only for that reason, but also think like this. If you are a reformed homeschool mom, do not get stuck in believing that your way is the only way. Because I know reformed people who have to send their kids to public school because there are things and tools and tips that those educators have and are well versed in that those children may need, that you are just not equipped to. Special needs, different stuff like that. Getting your child the assistance that they need to learn and become a whole person. You might not have the equipment to do that. Okay? And I don't mean like physical equipment, I mean like just knowledge base. Okay? Another thing is there are families out in this world where these kids have more or less been abandoned, or their families are so poor that they cannot feed their children. And sending their kids to public school ensures that kid gets at least one meal a day. Some of these schools and some of these educators, they're the only love and affection that kid is ever going to feel. There are people in this world who, yes, in the public education system, it's like they're ruining it for everyone. And I understand that. But you also have to understand, whoever you are, if you have a kid and you're trying to decide on where to put them in school, there is a lot to think about. Because, you always hope that you have if you send your kid to a public school, you hope that teacher loves your kid and is willing to care for and push your child to succeed. And that's not always the case. But do not be quick to discount public schools as a whole, like, heathen society, because it's not. It's just like every other part of this world. And I'm not saying you have to send your kids to public school. We don't, you know? But don't be afraid to include those public school educators in your conversations and ask for their help and guidance in certain situations, because they are, you know, they're extremely good assets. And what's kind of entertaining is I have found many public school teachers and retired public school teachers who homeschooled their own kids because they didn't want to put them in that situation. So just be aware that happens. It's not hypocritical. I don't believe it's hypocritical for a teacher to be that way. I think that kind of teacher truly loves and cares for the students that are in their classes, possibly more than some do. Not all, but more than some. But I think that's an important conversation for a lot of people that they're missing out on when it comes to homeschooling. A lot of people are like, oh, is your kid like going to be, you know, you go back to the age old, and I mean age old like in the past like 100 years. Did y'all know that homeschooling really didn't start until like the late 1800s? Or I mean public schooling didn't start until like the late 1800s? So for 1800 years AD, what did people do before then? Okay? I don't want people to think that like public school is the be all end all. Public school's only been around for like 100 and something years, or has only been the mainstream thing for a couple hundred years. So just know, look back into the history of stuff. If you're really struggling with whether or not you should do that, like look at stuff. And people can be critical. Families can be critical. Is my kid going to be socialized? I mean, people were socialized before public school was a thing, right? Yeah. And as a homeschool mom, we get out a lot more. We get to go do all of the stuff, you know? Like, all these people that, like, they want to play hooky from school for a day with their kids so that they can go and do something fun. With homeschool, you get to just do that. Okay? Plus, you're interacting with all these people. We interact with more people of various ages than what they would in public school, so don't let that hold you back. So, just my 2 cents. I just wanted to throw this out there because I feel like so many people kind of feel like you have to fall on one side or the other. Like public school or not public school. Some people do both. Some families do both. And that's okay too. Okay, I wanted to film more of myself making these Christmas tree ornaments, but I got so interested in it and just got into a certain groove that I ended up not recording as much as I wanted to. But I think these turned out great. They were made with white foam air dry clay, which I molded into the shapes of the mushrooms that I liked. And then I hot glued them together. I then glued on a couple of little leather straps that I turned into the hooks to go on the Christmas tree. And I did this in a couple of different shapes. But overall, I really love how they turned out. It's just basic acrylic paint on top of the white foam air dry clay and some sealant that's glossy and hot glue. And that's pretty much it. Yeah.